Hello to everyone. In this lesson, we will discuss paraverbal language and especially how vocal qualities contribute to good communication and enhance persuasive speech. When it comes to communication, it's not the words that matter the most, but the way we express them. We know that facial expressions betray our emotions and that certain gestures can ensure our success or vice versa. But how many of us pay attention to the tone we use in our communication? The meaning we extract from the messages received during a conversation comes from the words we hear in proportion of 7%. From the paraverbal language as the tone, rhythm and volume in which the words are spoken in proportion of 38%. The remaining 55% comes from body language. The intervention of paraverbal language elements over the verbal message can weak, distort, or intensify the meanings of the words from message. Handled with skill, the paraverbal message becomes an effective tool in influencing and controlling the people around us. The paraverbal message easily gains respect and garners approval. It intimidates and maintains the pressure. The power of the paraverbal language is dependent on the vocal qualities of the person and the degree of mastery of the speech mechanisms. We must analyze the pitch of the voice, which is given by the frequency of vibration of the vocal cords. The volume of the voice, which depends on the thoracic capacity, the qualities of the vocal cords, breathing, and the position of the body. Voice volume is easier to control than tone. The timbre and intonation betray the fact that the speaker is happy, sad, fearful, friendly, humble, or dictatorial. The pace of speech tells us how important the message is. The important message is spoken rarely and pressed. What is unimportant is spoken quickly. Accent includes the manner of pronouncing more intensively a syllable in a word or a word in a sentence. He can change the meaning of words. Diction is the skill and art of articulating and pronouncing words correctly and clearly. You can educate yourself through exercise. Well-placed rhetorical pauses give the listener a sense of active involvement. The Laboratory of Instrumental Analysis of Communication of the University of Barcelona carried out a study on voice and perception. Its conclusions are curious and interesting. Namely, the stern tone of the voice suggests maturity and confidence. If the tone of the voice is extremely serious, it refers to somber feelings. A firm and confident voice makes us believe that the speaker is someone special and important. Speaking in a low tone suggests that the person has weaknesses or is unsteady. Those who use a very pronounced tone express low credibility. The training helps to adjust the volume of the voice until the improvement of the ability to speak with good breath control, without loss of air and without nasality. Next is the ability called diction, which concerns clear and precise pronunciation without forcing. Then the ability to speak in a wide range of tones with voice modulation and continuous adjustment of speech rhythm. Then comes the ability to use pauses, to place accents and oratorical signs or interjections. Tone of voice determines communication, so let's get into the details. Your tone communicates a lot more than you realize. You have witnessed the situation when the voice exposes someone for not telling the truth. Parents, friends, or colleagues often ask us what happened after listening to us talking to them. The voice betrays what we feel. The tone of voice says we are not okay, even we don't admit it. Next, I will give you some tips on how to change the tone of your voice. First, you need to know that no one can solve your problem with a quick fix. Tone of voice doesn't work like this. It's like trying to change your accent. It takes time to change, but it's possible. And there are two ways to change your tone. The first is the mentality. Your way of thinking determines your inner world and your tone. So the way you think and feel comes out in your tone and non-verbal language. But most of us are not really aware of our mindset. You may not feel frustrated, angry, or anxious, but the inner world comes out enough for your tone to be visible to others. Most of us are not aware of our mood unless something specific happens. So, if we are not really angry, then we do not notice. As a starting point, you need to analyze your way of thinking about life. What is the general view of the world? I will ask you to fill in the blanks for these two statements. Most of the people around me are. This is the first. And the second statement, the world is. Fill in those blanks and take a minute to consider the answers to both statements. It will give you an opportunity to understand how your way of thinking works. And that can reveal why your tone is different from what you want. The second driving force behind tone is habits. We get them from our parents and the people we hang around. Sometimes we pick up communication habits and imitate each other. But just like the mindset, it's hard for us to notice our habits. You need to analyze what speech habits you have. What tone of voice did you inherit from your parents? The answers to these questions will help you observe the way you communicate and analyze how you can change it. If, for example, you find the tone too intense, too nervous, who in your family or group of friends speaks the same way? You may have learned from someone around you. Take as example Margaret Thatcher, who became Prime Minister of Great Britain, in fact the first female Prime Minister, and who was told that she had an irritating voice. Thus, she practiced to adjust her voice to be perceived as a confident leader. She has developed a vocal tone that commands respect and is pleasant to listen. Thus, I recommend that you do your best to develop a new mindset and new habits. It is not easy. Real change takes time. It's like changing an accent when you speak. Practice communicating with a more positive tone and mindset. I recommend you literally listen to yourself, to record yourself audio and video in order to accelerate the process of learning and change, to adopt a new mindset and new habits. Thank you for watching. See you.